Selection-wise, the skipper, how is he?
Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll certainly play this week. Good to have the skipper back, and he's itching to play, and he'll certainly make our midfield better this week.
Rory, Laird, and Henderson, the two others that
Yeah, they'll be right in the mix. Laird's okay, so he'll come into selection as well, the selection debate. And the other one's Ricky Henderson, who just tweaked a calf last week before the game, the day before the game, but he trained fully today, so he'll be another one that will come into consideration.
Given this score after we know the team, what would they come in? What would they
Well, Laird has only played the 2 games, but he's given us a really good lockdown small defender. So the sort of partnership with him and Brown have been able to take the small backs, so take the opposition's best small forwards. So they've been really good together. And of course Henderson's a bit of a swing man for us. He's got the ability to play at both ends. So with our forward structure and missing some key forwards, Henderson can play forward, but also too he can be a really dynamic third tall defender for us as well if we swing Otten forward. Yeah, he's fine. Yeah, he's okay. He'll certainly play for us this weekend. He's just got a little bit of tightness still. He did some extra running on Tuesday and just a little bit tight still. But now obviously with our key forward stocks limited, Lewis Johnson now out for at least 6 weeks and Walker out for 12 months. We can't take too many risks with those boys during the week. So McKernan, Jenkins, those boys will be in cotton wool early in the week.
Big long-term features now.
He would have been handy, yeah. There's a few other guys obviously too. We'll keep looking at the free agency market, and it's still a while off. We've still got 16 rounds to complete this year, and we'll be in the market, I guess, when free agency comes around later in the season. No, we won't. We'll go in full strength. We'll pick the best 22 we can pick this week. So we'll pick a 22 to win, and there might be an injury or two that comes out of our team, but at this stage, I think we'll go in full strength. Yeah, I don't think you can afford to flirt with your form. I mean, if it was later in the season and you'd sewn up a top 8 spot, it might be an opportunity, but we're not in that position. I certainly respect GWS, as every other coach does. I mean, this is a side full of young talent, and at their best they can beat anyone, and I seriously mean that. So we'll have to be at our best again. We'll have to start well. GWS are a young group who have been starting games well. They made Essendon look silly late last week, or early in the game last week. So we'll have to be at our best early on.
As you said, irrespective of course, and no team is easy, but you'd expect to win.
We go into every game confident that we can win, and we pick a side each week that we're confident is going to get us the points. But if we play well and if we play at our best offensively and defensively, we're a really hard side to beat as well. But this is a really good young side. I think we're all waiting in anticipation to see how good this young side can be. They're full of number 1 draft picks and obviously first round draft picks, and some of their, they just have flashes of brilliance, when you watch them play. So we'll have to be at our best defensively to try and shut down their excitement.
Brenton, just when you use the side, it appears from the outside you've been using guys and perhaps on the injury corner, or coming out of it. Do you continue down that path, or do you look through
Yeah, the sub's a difficult one. Sometimes it depends if we're taking anyone in with any injury risk as well, but I like to have a variety of guys available for the sub. So normally it has to be a running player, a guy that can break the game open if we need to make a strategic sub. But I know some clubs use that sort of utility type player as well, a guy that can play tall and small or forward and back. So each week depends a little bit, who we use. We haven't had match committee yet, but yeah, ultimately we'll pick a sub who we think can influence the game when they come on. Yeah, he would. Yeah, they played on each other last year, and Talia was very good on him, and Cameron's game last week against the Bombers was fantastic. We know this kid's got tons of raw talent, and that'll be a matchup which I think people, the footy purists will be looking at with a fair bit of interest. Last year's Rising Star winner against probably the early favourite late last year. So it's the early favourite early last year. So yeah, Cameron v Talia would be a really juicy matchup for the fans. Oh yeah, Cameron's a star. I mean, he already is. You know, when this side gets up and running, he's going to be almost unstoppable. But we obviously rate our boy too. You know, Tails is an absolute ripper, and his job last week on Franklin was just exceptional. Yeah, he would have been right in the mix. You know, it's unfortunate for Louis because he hasn't done much wrong, and his SANFL form has been fantastic. Our stocks are a bit low now when it comes to options for key forward. But, you know, Sam Shaw's not far away either. He's another one we can use forward. We saw Andy Otten forward against Carlton, who was okay. So we'll start to get some guys back soon, hopefully. And unfortunately for Lewis, he's going to miss a couple of weeks. Probably more than that, probably 4 to 6 weeks at least. But yeah, with Tex out for 12 months, Lewis will get his opportunities late or in the second half of the year. Yeah, it's a good chance now for Jenkins and McKernan, you know. Probably can get the confidence that they know they're going to be playing together for at least the next few weeks. So McKernan was good last week in the ruck as well, so it gives us another option in the ruck and gives Jacobs a bit of a chop out, and we can use Jenkins in that role as well. So yeah, they're two young players without much AFL experience, but you know, for me that's exciting opportunity for them. Yeah, well, I mean, he kicked 2 goals for, and you know, a couple didn't make the distance last week. I think he had 8 shots for goal. He's another one. His raw stuff is incredible. You know, you just hold your breath sometimes when he's got the ball because he can do anything. He's a real power athlete, and the more and more games he plays, I think the better and better he's going to become. So he'll be one that'll have some really good weeks and some you know, potentially some flatter weeks. But he's become a really important player for us now. Yeah, one more week. You know, West Adelaide play on Friday night next week, and we play Sunday, so that'll be a little bit touch and go. But he's going to he would have missed 3 weeks then with a hamstring. So, as a young player, I think he'll probably play in the SANFL next week. No, I haven't spoke to him personally. I know he's been sending out a few tweets and that sort of stuff, and he's in good spirits. But as far as I know, the operation went well, and yeah, now he starts the rehab process.
You mentioned that you're taking the best team in this GWS, and if everything is going according to plan after 3/4 time, does that give you a chance to maybe get that?
Yeah, that's probably the same with every game, though. You know, even if we're playing the top side, if things are under control late in the game, you might look for sort of throw your team around a little bit. But we won't be looking any further ahead than you know, our first contest, our first quarter. We've got to make sure we get back to playing our way. I think we played a little bit better last week, even though we didn't get the win. We certainly played a way that we were a lot happier with.
Given what's happened on the injury front, maybe would you be a bit quicker to experiment in games than you would have been, say, 3 or 4 weeks ago?
Not necessarily. The only time you really experiment in games is if you have to, like, you know, in the Carlton game when we had injuries and we threw Yench and Otten and Rutten forward and at times, but I don't think we're in a position that we can sort of flirt with our form too much. It's a matter of getting the side a bit more settled rather than experimenting, I think. But I know, you know, where you're heading with the question is our forward line structure too. You know, we'll probably keep experimenting with that until we get something that we like, and then we'll try and settle that down as well. Yeah, it's been a tricky one, hasn't it? Because there's been a lot of debate through the AFL coaching community, I guess, about what is a push now and what's not a push. But we've had a couple of emails back and forth from the umpires department about the clarification of the rule, and you've just got to make sure our players are aware of what's a free kick and what's not. Oh yeah, I mean we didn't get the 4 points when they admitted it was a mistake. But as I said after the game, it wasn't the reason that we lost the game. You know, it was one decision out of many in the game that didn't have a huge influence. I mean, if Thompson kicks the goal, we're 7 points up. But yeah, it was a free kick that didn't go our way, and we'll certainly get on with this week. Yeah, just some clarification about what's a free kick and what's not. So they'll do their best to pay free kicks when they're obvious, but there's always going to be the greyness when they get one wrong. I certainly accept that. we're not going to audit the AFL umpires after every decision, but I know they're looking themselves to become a bit more consistent with the rule. Oh yeah, I think so. But at the same time, I think our players are really clear about what's a free kick and what's not. But what threw them out a bit was the Thompson decision. But then the AFL were quick to admit that was a mistake and that shouldn't have been a free kick. So we'll just get on with it. Yeah, I thought we played a lot better against Hawthorn. Yeah, I know this is round 7 and we're quickly moving on. The season moves pretty quickly. But yeah, it was some really good signs on the weekend.